morning, my friends. Sai Ram to you all. Today, we are going to read the excellent poem of an excellent poet, Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, today we shall have this simple but very nicely worded poem, and it is a prayer in the prayer form. And let us see some biographical details of our poet. An Indian poet and a composer of our national anthem, Tagore was born on May 7, 1861 and gave up his life on August 7, 1941. See the irony of fate here. So, May 7 was his date of birth, August 7 was his date of death, 1941, 6 years before the independence. He has written in all the genres of literature. And what are the genres? Some people pronounce it as genres, both the same. He has written in all genres of literature, novels, short stories, plays, essays, poetry, etc. He is a philosopher and a musician. And Tagore started writing poetry early in life. In 1913, Tagore became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. W.B. Yeats, some people pronounce it Yeats, but Yeats is the proper one. W.B. Yeats translated Tagore's poetry written in Bengali into English and introduced Tagore to the Western readers. And Tagore is one of those great masters of literature whose works hardly left any human emotion untouched. Means that the pulse of his poetry is human emotions. And some more information. Tagore weaves streaks of Indian history, philosophy, religiosity and patriotism in his literature. His goal was to blend the best of Indian and Western poetry. This element is seen in this present poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear. This poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear, is a translated version of Bengali Chitto Jetha Boishonyo, first published in 1912 and got its entry in Tagore's English poetry collection, that is Gitanjali. So, the present one is number 35 in the book called Gitanjali. And some more information about this poem. It is written in the poem where the mind is without fear is written in free verse and with no rhyme scheme. And this poem is in the prayer form and it is one of his best known poems. Its message easily stands the test of time. That is the true merit of a good piece of art and literature. This poem was written when the British ruled our country. We were slaves to a foreign power. The nationalist and visionary Tagore wanted India to awaken to a bright dawn of freedom. That is, freedom from slavery and freedom from our own mental chains. So, this is about the poem. And these are all difficult words, fragments, small divisions, striving, working hard, attempting, stretch, spread, dreary, cheerless, not interesting. Now, before going into the poem, let us have a quick look at the grammar point of view. You have already studied complex sentences. Complex sentences is the mixture of main clause and subordinate clause. And subordinate clauses are framed by subordinating conjunctions. One sample I shall give. Where there is free air, where there is pure air, where there is greenery, where there is pure water, where Paravidya is given importance, where there is love and service everywhere. O Lord, let me be born, let me be kept in that place. You see, here first where, and then main clause, let me be kept in that place, oh my Lord. Like that, you have got first set of what? Subordinate clauses, and then comes the main clause. If you understand this, you can understand the poem better. And we shall go from the last two lines. Into the my father, let my country awake, let my country awake. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Idea number one. And the poet prays to God to keep him or to keep his country in a place. Which is that place? Here, adverb clause, that is subordinate clause, clause number 1. Here, where the mind is without fear. What do you mean by that? Means there should not be any fear complex. Where? To our mind. And if our mind is free from fear, it can work out better. It can think better. And head is held high. Means, whenever you are, yes, keep your head, hold your head high. Means what? You need not fear anyone. You have got liberty to express your thoughts. So, the two lines here, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Number 1, condition 1, condition 2. And in that one subordinate clause, you have got two ideas. The mind should be without fear and also the head is allowed to be held high. Nobody should be there to suppress our personality, to suppress our growth. There must be a what? A free growth of what? Of the personality. How can it go? When that mind is without fear and the head is held high. Both should be given importance. Mind and the head. Mind should be without fear, means fearless mind, and head is held high and head is given that much of importance without being snubbed or suppressed. So, the first clause gives you the idea. He just prays to God, "Oh God, let my country awake." Where? Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. In my introduction, I have given you this poem had been written before independence, where we were under foreign rule. Naturally, there were so many restrictions. There was no freedom. If at all there was a freedom, they used to be just snubbed. It was not allowed. And the Indians, in that slavery, they could not hold their head high. They could not assert their ideas because everywhere there were restrictions, everywhere he was in chains. Then that is point number 1. Number 2, if you have this number them, you can write a beautiful summary. 1, you taking the words from the poem and then giving your own thoughts. What do you mean by that? Then, where knowledge is free. Number 2, what do you mean by the knowledge is free? Means knowledge should be free from monetary clutches. Number 1. And the education is free from the caste, creed and other human vices. So, he is free in knowledge means what? 1 is there. Knowledge should be free. Knowledge should not be restricted by any political dogma. It should not be restricted by any caste. It should not be restricted by the so many fragments of human vices. It should be. What is that? Number 2, knowledge is free. So, it has got deeper meaning. It is free means not only in the sense of finance, means it should be free means it should not go for heavy collection that we are finding now. Now knowledge is not free. So, it is restricted by so many factors including finance. That is point number 2. Now, the point number 3, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. So strong thought. What is that? Where the world has not been broken. Now, the whole world has been broken into fragments. Fanaticism, linguistic fanaticism, religious fanaticism. So, such narrow walls have been there. Narrow domestic walls means having that now it is restrained from the bondage, that should not happen. Narrow domestic wall. If for example, it is our Karnataka, it is our Bengal, it is our Tamil Nadu. In this way, we are going to make them narrow domestic walls. So, what has happened now to the world? Where the world has not been broken, means I want that ideal state where the world should not be broken, is not broken by fragments by narrow domestic wall. Naturally, when there is if we create a domestic wall, restrictions will be there, more restrictions will be there. And when there are more restrictions, there cannot be any thinking freedom. And restricted liberty is not favorable for the development of the human thought or human institution. So, what is that? Number 3, where the world has not been broken by into fragments. We have already seen that word, small parts, by narrow domestic parochial interest. Oh, we must give importance to our Kannadigas, to our Marathis, and in this way, Bengalis, this kind of domestic wall, this is mine, this is, yes, only this. If at all fragments are there, there cannot be what? Progress. That world should be free from broken up into fragments, into parts. That shows parochial and narrow mindedness. That is number 3. I shall read it again. Number 1, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Number 2, where the knowledge is free, that is not restricted by any sort of bondage, any sort. Number 3, where the world has not been broken up into fragments, what? By narrow domestic walls. If we have broken them up into fragments, the progress cannot be done. The prosperity cannot be achieved. So that is number 3. That is why he appeals to God. Oh God, let my country awake. Every time, if you take that main clause here with every subordinate clause, then it will be meaningful and you can keep the thought of the poet linger longer in your minds. So what is the third one? Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic wall. If that narrow domestic walls are created, there can't be any progress, because infighting will be there, competition will be there, cutthroat competition will be there. So it should not be there. And you just allow our country to raise its head in this atmosphere. Number 4, where words come out from the depths of truth. Where words come out from the depths of truth. Absolute truth is necessary in life, according to Tagore. That is why he gives more importance to that truth, depths of truth. So our words, nowadays, what is happening? Our words come from our lips. Those words should not be lippy words, but they must have heart, and that must be what? Smeared with truth. All your words should be coming from the depth of truth. Means you should be the votaries of truth. Nothing but truth is the only secret of progress. Where the words come out from the depths of truth. This is 4th point. The 5th point is where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. See the words here. Where tireless striving. Striving means working hard. What? Tireless working hard. What do you mean by that? Tireless means you should never say, oh, is enough. Tireless, should not feel tired, and you must be always striving, desiring for something more and more. Don't keep yourself satisfied. So, just aim for more, wish for more. And I shall read it again. Where tireless striving means you must work very hard. You should never become lazy. You must be industrious. You must be hardworking and sincere. Stretches its arms, that kind of life, what? towards perfection. That leads to perfection. What do you mean by that perfection here? It flows easily and calmly. And perfection, always think of the perfection. That is what all the saints and seers say. You work for the perfection. And I shall read it again here. And this is the favorite of all the anthologists. Poetic pieces, poetry anthologies, they have to, it has to have this country, this poem where the mind is without fear. I shall read it again. Where tireless striving, sincere and hard working should stretch its arms towards perfection. It is not only being tireless and hard working, it should be led to perfection. And that is more culturally and politically free. Thus it is stretched towards perfection. So what is that? Fifth point, where tireless, struggling, continuous hard work, continuous sincere work should stretch its arms, what? Towards perfection. Perfection is the pulse there of that clause. Number 6, idea number 6, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert of dead habit. This subordinate clause got 3 lines here. Where the clear stream of reason. What do you mean by that? Clear stream of reason. When there is reasonability, or when that is reasoning is allowed, when the clear stream of reason, reasoning makes us perfect. So, clear stream of reason, those should not be restricted by many fragments of ideas. So, clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Means what? The reasoning, the power of reasoning must be allowed. It should not lose its way. And it should not become the dreary desert sand of dead habit. It should not be a dreary desert. And you see the 2 words, dreary desert and dead habit. And it should not be habituated. It should be a what? Flowing. It should be moving. It should be carrying the thoughts that come into these currents. Dreary desert of dead habit. That should not be turned into dead habit. Okay, so we have to do this. Like that only we have to go. No, you must always find the reason everywhere in all these activities, and that reasoning should not be disturbed or should not be turned or should not be pushed under what? The dead habit, mindless practicing. Dead habit means referring to your superstitious ideas. Mindless practicing of absolute means now it is not in the vogue. Such customs, old beliefs and traditional thinking, superstitions and narrow-minded attitudes. So many ideas are there. So, what is that? Mindless practicing customs. See, for example, custom is there. If our forefathers follow some custom, you have to apply your reason. Should it be applied now in the present life or should it not be? That should be. That should not be followed simply by the habit. Our forefathers were doing that, so we are following that. Such should not be the thinking of the people. dreary desert, dead desert, sand of dead habit means that is no moving at all. No movements are found, and that should not follow and fall into the ruts of what? Dead thinking, mindless thinking, superstitious thinking. That is idea number 6. And idea number 7, what? Where the mind is led forward, our mind should be what? Guided properly. Where the mind is led forward by thee, O Master. Thee means by you, O God. And you see here, if our mind is led by God, definitely there would be no hindrances, and definitely there would be no blocks. So here, where the mind is led, our minds, the minds of the people of that country should be led, should be guided by you, by thee, into ever widening thought and action. Ever widening means all embracing. We should not restrict anything. So, what is by thee? You must give that strength. Otherwise, it is impossible, because mind is going forward, and if it is to be led forward into widening thought and action, if you only guide them. So, that must be a guided path, and that must be a path shown by you. There, mind is led forward. How? Where? Ever widening in thought and action. Even in thoughts and even in action, there must be what? Forward. There should be a what? No blocking the way of clear stream into ever widening thought and action. Both are very important here. Two qualities of fearfulness, of thought and action should be what? Guided by you. Where the land, where the mind is led forward, guided, and you must be the leader. We are the leadies, and you should take the charge, and it should be led forward by ye, thee, you, into ever widening thought. Ever, you see, the words are so clearly chosen. This is here, by thee, into ever widening, means ever widening means always spreading, not restricting, not objecting. So here, by thee into ever widening thought and action. So here, nowadays what is happening? Thought is not followed by the act, act is not followed by the thought. There must be harmony between thought and action. That harmony between thought and action can be done only by the grace of God. That is, the poet urges Bhagavan, urges God, urges that supernatural element, urges that omniscient power. So, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought. You see, simply that is why most of the students, they like to by heart it, and it is worth of it, because it has passed the test of time. It was written 100 years ago. Now it is still prevalent. So, by ever, that is why he says, ever widening thought and action into that heaven of freedom. If the place is blessed, if the area is blessed, if the country is blessed with all these 7 qualities, let my country awake, my Lord, O God. So, please let my country awake, because now it is in foreign rule. We are in slumber. We don't have any freedom of thought and action. So, you must let my country awake. Awake means what? Get freedom. Now it is slumber, it is in the foreign rule. Let my country awake. My father refers to what? That super Shakti. That is God. That is Bhagwan. You can call it by any word. By Ishwar, Aradhya Devaru, and Atmanirbhar Bharat. You can bring that word, a modern coinage. So, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. So, where is the main clause here? My Father, let my country awake is the main clause. Now I shall read that or those things again. What is that? Where? This is main clause. All others are subordinate clauses. I shall just read it that way. My Father, let my country awake, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. My Father, let my country awake, where knowledge is free. That country he wants. Number 3, my Father, let my country awake, where the world has not been broken up to fragments by narrow domestic walls. I want your help, your grace, your blessings to let our country awake. Number 4, my Father, let my country awake, where words come out from the depths of truth. Every word is an image. Where left my Father, let my country awake, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Who is going to stretch the arm? Human being. What? Here he is what? Who is going to stretch? Tireless striving. Beautiful personification. Tireless striving stretches its arm towards perfection. My Father, let my country awake, where the clear stream of reason has lost its way into the dreary desert of dead habit. You see the words there. And you have to understand each and every word not in the dictionary way, but into that emotions. Poets, emotioned way. They are full of words with emotions which lead to promotion. It is not mere dictionary vocabulary, dictionary words. My Father, let my country awake, where the last one, 7th one, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. So, my Father, let my country awake into that heaven of freedom. If you have got all these 7 qualities, that land becomes what? Heaven on earth. We need not go in search of any new heaven. Into that heaven of freedom. You have to underline that word, into that heaven of freedom. What is that heaven of freedom? So all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the 7 ideas, subordinate clause, and this is main clause. My father, let my country awake into that heaven of freedom. If somebody asks you, come on, give me the main clause from this. This is the main clause. All are subordinate. In this way, all these words, you can stretch. The idea are, the words are not mere words. They carry ideas. So, you can stretch these ideas to any extent. They are open-minded and they are open-ended. You can include anything there. So vast. So, that is heaven of freedom. So, the poet wants his country to get the freedom, and in a place where into that must be a what? Heaven of freedom. So, here what is the pulse here? So, freedom should be heaven. Freedom alone can turn this country into heaven. So, that is how the poet wants to get his country awake, to let his country awake into that heaven of freedom. So, they are not mere words. You can write any length of a para. You are free to use all these words, every word has got an idea. It can be stretched to any extent. And he calls it and when you find all these things, that is an ideal state. This is called utopian society, to use some other word. It becomes a utopia where there is everywhere, everything is ideal. So, that poet wants his country, hence wants our country to get the freedom into that heaven, and into that what heaven where you find all these things, and that is what? Utopia. So, it is an utopia of it should be utopian society, and it should be culturally, politically, they must have the union. But what is happening now? Unfortunately, the prayer to the Lord by Tagore, made in 1912, still we have not achieved. Again, you are going to see, if you just are in touch with the newspaper news, you will not find all these things. Still we are in the process of changing our country into the heaven of freedom. So, freedom nowadays, has got no restriction there, but it is going in some other ways, slanty ways, curves, so many curves. So, still the prayer is on, and now also we can pray to God the same prayer. Then only our country may make progress, and our countrymen may open their ideas, and that makes our countrymen, that may help them to come out of that what? Parochial narrow-mindedness. So, these are the thoughts contained in the poem, and we have to let us see about the figures of speech, and we call them what? Poetic devices. You find the different figures of speech only in poetry, because they have to minimize the words and maximize the meaning. So, number one, metaphor is there. It is a figure of speech. We have already seen metaphor, simile and all these things in our previous lessons. Still I have repeated. It is a figure, metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable. So, here narrow domestic walls, referring to what? Referring to various barriers. Clear stream of reason, referring to the mind which is always guided by reason rather than superstition. Dead habit with dreary desert, referring to superstitions. Head is held high, referring to moral courage. And second one, personification, attributing human characteristics to something non-human, or representation of an abstract quality in human form. For example, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. That is a beautiful example of personification. And third one, alliteration. Though there is no rhyme scheme is there, but he has provided music with this alliteration. What is that? Alliteration, it is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of an adjacent or closely connected words. They serve music and meaning. For example, where the mind is without fear, held is held, head is held high, and has not been broken, striving stretch, dreary desert of dead habit, D, and tireless striving stretches its arms. So, a repetition of letter for the effect of sound and also the meaning. Now, symbolism, beautiful images are there. Symbolism, what is that? Tagore uses clear visual and sensory descriptions, that is visual imagery or symbols, to ensure that the reader understands the struggle for identity and freedom as it exists physically and spiritually. So, example, depth of truth. Yes, it's an image. Narrow domestic walls. So, you will get that. It is a symbol. Clear stream of reason. Why he has used it for the stream? So, that stream, though it is very small, it is so fine, flowing, pure, crystalled and transparent water. Dreary desert sand. You see, dreary desert. Desert itself is dreary, and then it is sand. So, you can have that idea. Then heaven of freedom. If we get all these 7 qualities, that becomes a heaven of freedom. So, you get the picture of the what? Heaven. That heaven is heaven of freedom. And now comes your job. What is that? You have to read and reread and understand the poem. So, when you understand the poem, you can stand by it and you can understand the questions and you can comprehend. So, what is that? What is meant by mind is without fear and head is held high? You have to take it. And the second one, what does the poet mean by where knowledge is free? Why? It is free from all the parochial barriers. So, the domestic walls are usually associated with safety, comfort and love. But what are the reasons here? Narrow domestic wall, because we build the house. So, naturally it is for our safety. Why that is used? So, you have to choose. If you do not agree, you have to choose from this. And why has the word tireless been used to describe striving? Because it needs striving. You have to have the practice. Otherwise, if it will not become tireless. You will have tiring. If you go on striving, it becomes tiring. That should not happen. So, tireless, that is very important. Putting antithesis, tireless and striving should go together. What are we striving for? That is there in the poem. We are striving for just bringing a note with the emotions and where our country should get freedom and the people should enjoy that freedom. And the next one, why is reason compared to clear stream? Again the same. Again you have to go back. Again you have to understand mere following dictionary. You follow the what? Flow of the head. Then who does the poet address as the thee and my father? It is what? God, Swami. You can call him by any word. And with this, I thank you, and also you read it and prepare and write those exercises. Okay, good luck.